want to share is that these are the different type of requirements that I commonly see, right? That people need to buy a new headset, get a new web conferencing tool, or to upgrade their private broadband. We're going to run a poll. So while I am presenting, the poll will pop up on your right-hand side on the panel. Please feel free to participate in the poll while I'm doing the presentation. So some tips for you. I look at the profile. Some of you are the managers or company owners, and I think some tips for you to help you manage your remote workforce is to be accessible to your team. You know, you can start the conversation asking them about their well-being. Well-being in this case also includes psychological health. Some of the members are very extrovert, so now that they're required to lock up at home for a long time, they may become mentally not stable. So check with their well-being and see how they are. Secondly is on the video first. We at Cisco, we have been doing work from home for quite a while, right? So one of the things that we try to do at Cisco is we want to try and do a video first. When we have a Webex meeting, we want to open up the video because first of all, it's professionalism. We are at work, so we have to open up the video to show up at work, right? Second is that when you have a meeting and you have your video on, that is feedback, right? When we have a discussion, and that's the reason why we have the face-to-face meeting. So turning on the video lets you have much more productivity and take away much more in a meeting than if it were just an audio meeting, right? Video is also important when that meeting is really required for you in that day. If you think about it, in a normal working day, you probably spend about 5 to 7 meetings, web meetings in a day. Now, you could be more productive because I guess, and I bet with most of you, you probably ask yourself this question. A lot of these meetings, I don't need to be in there. How do I know if this needs to be a meeting? And one of the major indicators and tips is that nobody has the video on. If nobody has the video on, the meeting could have been just a message or using some kind of a chat tool, or it could be just some kind of a call, right? So you wouldn't have need to be on a Webex meeting or a web meeting. So do try and encourage turning on the video and understand that this is now being professional. We are bringing ourselves to work, so we try and encourage them to have the video on. Third is the same thing, be kind and understanding to the disruption as a manager. For tips for some managers that set the culture and they them, right? So if they understand and try to be more kind, they can allow this culture to set in. Last but not least is that socializing and work is fun, and I think I'm glad to see this happening a lot more in Singapore as well. I'm starting to see more Singaporeans are doing this Zoom and virtual Zumba kind of a session, which is great. We want to share, we for ourselves, for one, we did a virtual coffee break, virtual sessions like this. My boss is a DJ, so he like to do this kind of a virtual DJ session. We just did one. And then, of course, some virtual fitness class, right? Not just internal team, but also with your partners and your customer, you have the options to use things like virtual happy hours with my partners. This is from our screenshot of a session we did with partners to continue the relationship with them. We also did virtual customer events and virtual webinars and live stream. It's essential that during this circuit breaker moment period that we have to keep ourselves engaged with our partners and customers. And this is an example of what we are doing, right? We are now trying to keep ourselves relevant and trying to share our best practices with you as a customer and want to maintain relationship, continue to maintain that relationship, stay close to our partners and customers out there. Okay. So working from home has its challenges. Some tips from a bit of a technical perspective, a little bit more technical, is that when we are working at office, there are some things that we took for granted. For example, like connectivity and security, right? Now that the work has now shifted and moved to home, we need to consider this. But working from home is a totally different environment. You may not be aware of initially some of the things that are happening at home. Like, for example, there is somebody also complaining, right? I'm sure Sony and PS4 as well as Nintendo, all these gaming are now very popular, and the usage will be spiking a lot. Secondly, is the computers at home are also all using the same broadband, right? So you have limited bandwidth at home. And the third one is the streaming and video. Some of you may be staying with the same family members, and all of them also have the same using the same network and the bandwidth to stream. So what I want to say is that when you work from home now, connectivity is not taken for granted. And also, we gotta consider the security aspect of how do we protect the work and the information that we bring from work into home environment, right? So we, as a, let's say, as a responsible employee, we have to call this and also try our best to keep the security there, right? I got this slide from my colleague in Italy, and I think you guys probably know Italy has one of the worst hit region for the COVID situation. And I think in Italy, they do not have the luxury of a well-positioned and a well-prepared service provider. So in a nutshell, what happened there is everybody started flocking to the service provider, and they were chunking up their network and the bandwidth. And the network and the bandwidth is a considerable important factor when you are doing something like web conferencing, or when you are doing something that is a bit real time, right? What I mean by real time could be streaming a video like Netflix, or it could be having web conferencing or video call, phone calls over the WhatsApp or Facebook. All these are doing the strain to the service provider. Now, do note that when you consider cloud, the choke point is not just at the service provider side, but also even between country to country. So, for example, one of the last week, I think between Singapore and Hong Kong, one of the submarine cable was impacted. Then that caused a lot of service disruption to a lot of companies, as well as users using the Webex and web conferencing services. So these are some of the factors that may not be affected by you. But now, if we take those service provider and those cables aside and consider the things that were at home, some of the things that will chalk up is your own laptop. Your own laptop and your home broadband also face the same issue for the congestion. So think of it like the toll, right? Like this kind of a toll. So if you, a lot of application, a lot of internet packets are trying to get up, but they are stuck and they have a long line, that's the reason why you will see that you clog up and load up your laptop just really cannot get the kind of service you want. So some tips for working from home, as I mentioned before, have a good bandwidth. Second is now that you're aware of your home environment and some of the things that could be running, you can keep your streaming and your backup until the night time, so that it doesn't use the same timing as you would need when you are working, right? Because during the daytime, you are doing a lot of work, you are maybe accessing a lot of company resources, as well as doing web conferencing. Third of all is launch only the apps that you need, and so that it don't weigh down the CPU. I think that most of y'all may already have multiple conferencing applications in your laptop, right? So one customer, maybe your meeting is using Microsoft Teams, the other customer using Skype, and then some of your partners is using the Zoom, and other people are using the Google Hangout. So you can just turn on the applications that you need to use, so that you don't weigh down the CPU, because all of these are conferencing applications, and all of them are the same resource on your laptop. Right? So for example, check like your microphone, your camera, web camera, and and the services, or some data required to keep the service alive in the background. Also, you may not you may know that some applications do not need the VPN. So unless you need the VPN, you don't need to connect the VPN, right? Getting a good headset will be good, especially now for most of the Singaporeans are staying in a compartment, right? And it's not a lot of people are running around. There's a lot of background noise. So one of the common things I also found is that the wind is blowing at a person. So when the wind is blowing, because I think the Singaporeans are hot in their house, so sometimes they put a fan, standing fan, or some fan blowing at them directly. So when that happens, even if you have a microphone, sometimes you set the microphone the fan blowing, and it sounds like somebody, like you're breathing into the microphone. So these are some of the tips lah. So I found this very common, right? Even if they don't turn on the video, I know that the fan is blowing at them. So you may think, consider how you can make the fan. If you actually still want the fan, but you don't want to disrupt the meeting, you can mute your background when you're not talking, right? Don't mute yourself. Mute yourself when you're not talking, so the fan blowing and all these other background noise is not so disruptive. Background, of course, is good. Actually, for Cisco, one of the things for Webex is we do not have the virtual background unless you are using the iPhone. But we traditionally have not seen a lot of people in the enterprise workspace use the background yet. That's because we encourage the video background, and I mean we encourage people to show up as themselves and be authentic and bring themselves to the meeting. Right? So that's why we don't have the virtual background, and our Webex customers profile is more towards the enterprise and the business usage. So the last one is that avoid the peak usage. So one of the things we want to share is, when everybody is starting their meeting at 10 a.m. or 10:30, right? So when you also park yourself at the same time, there's a good chance that you are using the same service and the usage with everybody else. So if you want to avoid a peak usage, you can try to make sure you don't take the same slot as the other people on their mainstream. So you could schedule your meetings on 10:05 or start earlier at 9:55, right? So these are some tips and tricks that you could allow for people to your meeting to be getting more better services than possible. All right. So all these tips does not matter. Is not just related to Webex, web conferencing tools. Most of them is relevant. Okay. So with specific to Webex, some of these how to best use Webex, we also have a bit of tips. First one is close unnecessary application, which I shared before. And then secondly, on Webex, you can actually check your audio settings and your microphone before you join into the web conferencing. Third but not least, you can also does not need the VPN to join into the Webex meeting. So if you know that VPN, that's a VPN concentrator. So the VPN traffic is owned by your company, right? So you have to concentrate somewhere. So very often the VPN concentrator and the VPN is not optimized for web conferencing, and it may be blocking some of the port. In addition to that, if everybody in the company were to do web conferencing over the VPN, it will clog up the pipe, right? So we actually, even within Cisco, we encourage our own employees to don't have to use the VPN to do the web, right? Let's check the status.webex.com to check the latest update on our services. Last but not least, I think many people may not be aware is that within Webex ourselves, we got a help center where you can do the audio and the video statistics. So over here, you can also submit the log. So when you have some issue, you're not happy with the experience, sometimes the experience may not be related to our Webex data center, but it could be because of some issues such as DNS routing with your service provider. It could be because of some bandwidth issue, right? And so in order to really find out, it's best to submit the log and then open a case with our Cisco to go and troubleshoot this, right? Last but not least, I want to share this link with you here, which is a link we prepared that you can go to this link to actually it's not really specific to Webex as well. Any web conferencing tool, if you find that there's no bandwidth and you always have some issue with web conferencing, okay. So security is a hot topic these days, right? I've been asked a lot of security, and I think security is a hot topic. I want to share some of our best practices in security so that you can secure your own web meeting room. Okay. First of all is being aware to what is being enabled, right? We actually enabled security for everyone. So all meetings that is from Webex, regardless whether you are using the Webex meeting or you are using the meeting, we say that all meetings require the password and is unlisted so that we prevent unwanted people or information leak. Secondly, is that the personal room cannot be opened without the host, which means if you have using the Webex personal room, you cannot other people or the meeting attendees cannot join into the room until the owner of the room join in. So the host cannot join in. The host the meeting cannot start until the host, the owner of the room has joined. All right, this is for security purpose. Third one is that unauthenticated users are required to wait in the lobby until the host admit them, and this is how it looks like. So on the top right, you will see a orange banner that will say some who and certain people are waiting in the lobby. This is how you can tick and check who to join in. So there's a waiting room feature in a normal personal meeting room. All meetings will be configured to automatic lock after 10 minutes to prevent people from joining. But for this option, actually, you can also set, you can choose 5 minutes, you can choose to lock, right? But it's best to lock the room after a certain period of time so that you don't have unexpected guests joining in. Okay, now that users joining in from the phone or video conference will also be required to enter a password before anything. So these are common security settings which we already set for everybody, right? To make sure that security is there for everyone when you're doing the web conferencing. Secondly, these are the security tips for the meeting owner. So take note that these security tips I share, although we are doing for the Webex meeting, they are very relevant. Actually, they are very relevant to any of the web conferencing tools that you use. So if you're using Google Hangout, Meeting, Microsoft Teams, or if you're using Zoom, they all also have some kind of feature like this. They should have some kind of features like this. If they don't have, I think it's some danger, right? But most of them, I'm pretty sure they have. When you schedule a meeting, you can choose password. Don't choose a password that is easy to be hacked. That's what I mean by that is, nowadays, what people are doing is they are using some kind of roulette and a brute force attack on the meeting password, right? So if you choose some password that is easy to guess, numeric in order, you'll get beaten up pretty quickly. So you can choose a complex password if you really need to password lock. Secondly, you can also choose to send the password separately and not included in the same meeting invite. You can choose to disable your meeting privilege and control and edit the attendee privilege. So over here, you can set that do not allow the attendee to control the desktop remotely, or do not allow the attendee to chat, or do not allow the attendee to share, right? So these are some of the settings that you can do. And best of all, if you were using the paid Webex, you will be able to manage centrally all your users. So the thing about security and the free users is that if you will, some of these settings may not be available, or they will have to go and configure it themselves. If the reason why some people will buy Webex for the whole company and manage it as a company is because they can manage the security for their entire company, right? They can manage the settings and the security centrally. Second is during the meeting, you can also assign and have the control. You can disable that anybody can share the meeting, and then you can lock the meeting room as required. And so some tips. The next popular question that I really get a lot is how to choose the solution that works best for your meeting or event, right? Like we say today, we are using the Webex Event Center to have a webinar with you as a customer, so that we can continue to do product update or share some of this and visible to you as a vendor, right? So, the great meeting and for these are the questions you can ask yourself on whether you can do with Webex meeting or you should do with Webex event. So take note, although I'm using Webex meeting and Webex event, these terms are pretty common out there in the industry. So for example, Zoom calls their Zoom Pro Business, and then for their webinar, they call it a webinar add-on, right? So they also have two different types of product. One is the normal Zoom, and then the other one is the normal webinar. So the webinar is obviously for those events. So like what we are using now, we're using something like the Webex Event Center that we do the product update or give some presentation sharing to a wider audience, and so that we can control and manage the experience for you. So can you identify? We've got the first is how many attendees will join. Is it a few, 100, or 1,000? How will your attendees participate? Most of them will join from the top and the right. If you need moderators, panelists, are you going to do a fireside chat? So, and then how will they interact with you? Do you want them to do some live Q&A? Do you want to do some polling and interactive survey? And is this a private or public meeting? So these some questions you can ask yourself to identify whether it is a web meeting you can do with the normal Webex meeting, or you want to do with the event center. So we got a comparison chart with this. I'm not going to go through the whole list of things, but basically the normal Webex meeting is used for a normal business conversation and a business meeting, whereas for the event center is used more for like a product launch, product update, and webinar. So these are the kind of a use case, right? So you have all this enabled and you can allow this functionality. So these are two different products, and it's many of the different vendors all have the same type of positioning. So there's something that is for the normal business meeting, and there's another tool that is for the normal business or event. So consider this and evaluate your needs on how you can make it allow your business to be relevant and continue to have the operation. Right. So I mentioned before, Webex meeting for the live internal or external event, but it's more for the business meeting, right? This one is what we are using now is the event center and the webinar. So a moderated internal or external event. It can support up to 3,000 people. It allow normal formal registration with polling, moderated Q&A, and also allow the event survey and allow the VoIP to call in. Okay. I'm gonna now go into the future of work content. So I have about, I believe, 10 minutes left. So I'm gonna be pretty quick on this part. I think this work from home arrangement is now becoming a new normal for us. And if you consider and think about it, a lot of now modernize their experience for their employees. And the modernization is a circuit breaker situation. So with the circuit breaker, what happens is that we are forced to work from home 100% of the time, right? So if you think about, even if we had the situation return back to normal and we have the real, we got a cure for the COVID virus, I think it's very unlikely that we will go back to 100% to face-to-face all the time. If we were a smart company, most companies will start to do the real BCP and planning for the future. And the main reason for that is to prepare for another event like the COVID, but also to able to allow a flexible, agile, and diverse workforce. We have been pitching this agile and diverse workforce for a long time, and we know that it comes with the benefits of higher productivity, happy employees, and allows you to get more flexible now. But I think this is really the catalyst for a future remote workforce, and also companies that had a better virtual collaboration tool and a modernized experience, they are able to actually bounce back to recovery faster, right? So that's the trending word these days, which is how are companies positioning themselves and preparing to bounce themselves back into recovery. And one of them is actually to consider the plan for the future in this kind of a virtual working space. So the theme for us is modernize the workforce and the workplace experience. I'm gonna run through a quick example. Actually, this is how a Cisco person or some of our customers are working these days. They will start their work day and then they will work throughout the commute, even when they go into the office. And then throughout the office, there's a mixture of physical as well as virtual meeting. And then finally, when they go home, they still have the flexibility to do some work from home, right? So to some of us, this is a nightmare because work never stops. It's everywhere and pervasive into your life already, right? So, but this is the reality. For when you go to when we go back to normal, we expect that you'll be able to get work seamlessly done. And the experience of transiting between work, and consider that work is not just web meeting, but it could be a lot of different type of collaboration workloads put up together. So I'm going to run through a few of these roles and show you how it's like. All right. So imagine this, at 7:30, you jumpstart your day and you check your Webex. You have able to see your meeting schedule and you learn about the people that you are meeting for the day. Next, when you go onto the train at 8:30, you can keep work moving on the go. So we want to keep you productive, right? Keep the users productive and using all them that even when they work, like in the train, they could be having a Webex meeting. So you can have a high quality Webex meeting with a video and audio, and at the same time you have a headset that is doing the noise blocking. Sometimes you may even already have a Webex meeting with your regional office, right? Or you have maybe people joining from people in Bangkok or Jakarta, 1 or 2 hours behind. They are already in the office. You may already be having some meeting with them. Okay, so these are some of the things. Now, when you have 9:15, you reach the office, you can transition seamlessly into the office. So what we have is, if you were having a Webex meeting on your mobile phone, and you have the Cisco web device video endpoint in your office, we can actually allow you to transfer the meeting onto your video device. So we call this a Webex bot with proximity, and you can allow you to go and continue your meeting without having to stop the meeting on your phone and then join back into the meeting from the video endpoint, right? So these are some friction that we remove so that we can allow the users and allow the customer let you walk into the conference room and keep the same conversation going without losing context and losing the momentum of that meeting. Okay. And then at 10:35, right, we have a quick scrum meeting or agile meeting. You may do that with our new Webex meeting. So the new Webex meeting, we have an intelligent assistant. We call it the Webex assistant. So the Webex assistant in the meeting will be coming soon, I think around May. And it comes with the live transcription, allows the live subtitle, as well as the assistant is able to take the meeting notes and share with you after the meetings to do the meeting highlight. So you have a virtual assistant helping you to take minutes and meeting notes, and also you can give the update to everybody and allow you to easily get best out of this web meeting, right? Using this. So just to show you at 10:55 the meeting, you have the post-meeting workflow. So in the post-meeting workflow, you can see this is the name of the meeting, and you can see the summary of the users, like what kind of highlights that was highlighted, some of the action items that was highlighted. One of the pain point, having done meetings for very long, some mysterious symptoms of a meeting is that after the meeting, nobody seems to do any job or any work, right? So there's nothing, no accountability, and nothing is being done. So that is a pain point. So we want to keep people accountable and to help record the minutes of the meeting. And we want to do that intelligently with the AI. So we want to bring the information to you. So we understand that not productivity does not mean just during the meeting, but also after the meeting, right? So post-meeting is also important on what is being we want to help you make the experience better, to give you all, help you intelligently highlight these minutes. Okay, so after that, you have a distributed team collaboration meeting. Why is a distributed team collaboration meeting? Because it's very likely that when we go back to the new normal, teams will, from time to time, they may even have a team A and team B, right? So you already have some virtual meeting, and some of the teams may not even be in Singapore, or some of them may be in Singapore, but they are working from another office. So we gotta get used to the virtual distributed team collaboration meeting, and we have multiple capabilities that we can allow two-way whiteboarding. We can do touch redirect and also integrate the web applications that you use the most onto your meeting itself. Okay. So we want to highlight in the midday when you're doing the work just does not happen on the meeting, but also include the productivity tools that you use the most, including Microsoft Office, Box, and your Salesforce. So we need to do a full integration with these tools to make sure that you are fully integrated. Finally, at 3 p.m., you can connect with your customer, give them a call. What we have done is actually with Cisco Webex calling, we have integrated with Slack and also Microsoft Teams. So from those applications that you use the most, you can call from those applications, you can cross-launch, and then it allows you to stay productive, stay in the same application that you want, allows you to connect to your customer. Finally, you have another late day customer meeting. You can launch the Webex meeting integrated with Microsoft Teams. So within Microsoft Teams, you can also have the Webex meeting experience. We have by far the best native experience with Microsoft Teams, and you can easily open up the meeting from there and join to stay productive. Okay. Finally, when you go home, and also not just the meeting at 7 p.m., but also let's say working from home virtually, you have a Pro. So with the Pro, you can do meeting if you were in the office. This is a fantastic 27-inch with a 4K display, and the video and the audio processing is top notch. So it's purpose fit to do the web conferencing for a long period of time. Is a web conference is actually supposed to be a video device for the desk and for the position for the CEO and the executive. Right. So what you've seen here is what I think will be a little bit sneak peek into the future of the workforce, and is actually already available today or will be available very soon. Right. So just mention about the consistent employee experience, Webex meeting, calling integration from the Slack, Microsoft Teams. Webex meeting can be integrated with Microsoft Teams as well to show up, and then you have the whiteboarding and web assistant inside the Webex. And if you want to, if put it in one picture, right? We have the Webex Cloud that provides you with the calling. That's a IP, your phone PBX system, your phone system. And then you have the Webex meeting, you have Webex team, and you have your devices running in the same cloud. So the benefit of that is you have only one single platform to manage. And with that single platform, we can provide you with the enterprise grade security. So you don't have to worry about managing different type of workload and the security aspect of the different workload. We can provide you cognitive capabilities, such as the one that we show you in the Webex meeting, to allow you to be more productive so that we can use AI to bring the best out of your workload, give you analytics into how your workforce is doing, how your employees are doing, okay? And then finally, you can manage all of this centrally from the control hub. And at the same time, your users have the same unified experience. So they have the same application, one single application. They can do calling and they can do messaging and they can save views. So with this concept experience, this is what we call the seamless collaboration experience, and we believe it's the new modern workforce and a workplace for everyone. Okay. Last but not least, just to touch on some point on the security. These are it's our vision, right, to inspire teamwork. So we want to be the canvas on every knowledge worker's desktop and to let you connect to each and everybody from wherever you are throughout the day. So we want to bring teams together to get your absolute best work done. Okay, some closing thoughts here before I hand over to Ming Yao. I'm right on the mark at 10:40. So the future of work is here. Remote work is on demand and our portfolio is ready. We want to help you transform and modernize your work experience. I will hand over to Ming Yao for the last part of the presentation before we open up. Over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. This is Ming Yao from M1, Corporate Sales and Solution. All right. So welcome again to our webinar session today. And I would like to share with you what will M1 actually provide together with our vendor in this Webex solution, and how much will it cost. All right. So as you can see on the slides, right, this Webex, right, is actually cost at $420 per year, and this is before the grant. So how you guys actually go about it, right, is you guys actually need to get the proposal from us, and after which attach this proposal into the grant portal and follow up with the grant portal official on the grant approval. Once you get the approval, you can come to us and we will actually process the order for you. So all in all, right, this will take about weeks to months, depending on how fast the grant can be done. All right. So I would like to keep this short because we are slightly running out of time. So for the next two slides, right, is also our business continuity package, whereby it comes with laptop suites and with Microsoft 365 business package. All right. So each entity, right, can get a grant up to 3 sets of laptop and O365. The process is actually the same as Webex, whereby you need to get a proposal, follow up with the grant, and get us to process the order once the grant is actually approved. All right. Next will be the standalone O365 purchase, whereby per year each package will actually cost at $240. And all these, do bear in mind that the charges are before the grant. The grant is up to 80%. All right. All these three packages, right, will be exactly the same on how it is processed. First, proposal. Second, get the grant approved. Third will be we process the order for you. All right. All this is seamless as long as you get the as long as you get the grant approved. All right. All this information can be actually found in our M1 portal. Chris, next slide, please.
All right. So, Ming Yao, that's all for your presentation, right?
No, one slide in front.
Oh, one slide in front. Okay, sorry.
Right. Okay.
This one?
Yes,
Right.
correct. Thanks, Chris. Okay, so how it goes, right? You can go to our business portal, right? As in our M1 portal, right? And click to follow the link and click. How you go about it is actually click on the inquiry, and someone from M1 will actually get in touch with you on all the information you need. Otherwise, if you know you have a account manager in M1, right, you can approach your account manager directly, and he or she will actually liaise with you on the information you need. All right. So that's about it from my end.
Okay. We got the Q&A. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and then we will unmute you so that you can ask the question live. All right. So I see there's a lot of questions, some questions coming in the Q&A, and okay, we are addressing them. All right. So I don't think, is there anyone that has a question? You can raise your hand using the raise your hand function, or you can type in the chat that you want to ask a question. Okay, I see there's some question. Okay, let me unmute you. Hi.
Hi, can you tell me
I
more
unmuted
about the
you.
grant? Hi, can you tell me more about
Hi, Abina, I think you muted yourself just now when you were halfway through.
how much percent is it, and do I apply it from PSG directly, or how is the process again?
Okay. Ming Yao, can you take that question? I think the question is around like they want more details of the grant, like how many percentage of it and the process of applying for the grant through the PSG.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Okay. So how do you go about it, right? Is you will need to actually go into the grant portal to apply for it. And you must actually get the proposal from us. The grant for each entity is actually up to 80%. Okay. So this information is actually indicated in the grant portal. And if there is a need, right, you can actually give a call or drop an email to the official, and they will actually reply you from there should you have any further inquiries on the grant criteria and process.
Okay, thank you, Ming Yao. I hope that answered the question for Vina. Anyone else would like to ask a question? Okay, I see some of you all prefer the Q&A chat, which is also fine. We are answering them as we need. So there's someone that asked about the unique selling point against other platforms like Zoom or Surfly. But at because this presentation, we prepared to share the best practices, right, and some tips and tricks. So perhaps if you need to have the competitive information and you want to find out about the web conferencing from Cisco, I'm happy to do a session for you. Okay, I see that no more questions already. No one is raising a hand. Chris, are we good to close the session?
We are good. We are good.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining. And I hope we have the chance to present to you again.